Oh hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Have you ever used up an item in your fridge and thought the shape of the container was just too fabulous to throw in the recycling bin? Well, I have, and I came up with a fantastic way to breathe new life into them, give them a new purpose, and keep them around for a long time to come. Want to know how I'm going to turn this trash to treasure? Don't go anywhere. I'm about to show you.
Yesterday, there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane.
This super fun and easy DIY can be done on anything, any shape, any size, any material. It could be plastic, it could be resin, ceramic, glass, whatever you have on hand. If you have the right paint for that material, you can do this DIY. Today I'm going to use glass. Scott happens to be an olive fanatic. I'm talking like a couple jars a week. Between him and my mom, I always have olive jars left over. And thankfully, they actually like the brand that has an interesting shape to them. So I always seem to have an abundance of these adorable little jars left over. Now they kind of remind me of like laboratory type vessels. That's the shape that they have. Maybe that's why I'm totally drawn to them. But I started to think about how could I actually use these in a utilitarian way. Something that's very useful, something that's very pretty, something that will go with my decor, or something that I could even give away as a gift. And I happened to come up with a fabulous, fabulous idea. I'm going to turn them into vintage-inspired mini vases, and I want them to look like patinaed copper. Something that has been sitting out on a cafe table in Paris for many years is kind of the look that I'm going for. And I'm just going to use simple things that I already have in my studio, because remember, I am a huge proponent of a well-stocked studio. I do my best to keep mine stocked with all different supplies so that when the inspiration hits, like right now, I'm totally ready to dive into the project. Starting with clean, ready-to-use containers, the first thing I did was to mold some resin castings. I want to make some embellishments and give these plain little jars a bit of old world opulence and character, and I am going to bring those out through painted layers as I continue this process. Now, these embellishments can go all the way around. It can just be on one or two sides. It can be totally covered or hardly any at all. It is all a personal preference. It is all entirely up to you. Whatever you want to do, they are going to look great. I like to use my amazing casting resin because it sets up but still gives me working time, especially on surfaces that are round like these jars. Make sure I get these attached properly to the jars and securely so that they are not going to go anyplace as I continue on with more layers finishing this off. So I want to get them all securely in place, and then I'm going to let them cure for the night. I want to give them plenty of time, make sure everything's good and tight, and I'll come back around to it tomorrow. Now I'm going to take them outside and I am going to give them 2 light coatings of black spray paint. You could use flat, satin, semi, whatever you have on hand is totally fine. And I do the 2 lighter coat to ensure full, even coverage that's drip free. I'm going to let them totally sit and cure, and then I'm going to go over them with this copper paint. I actually really love this copper paint. It has an incredible amount of shine and sparkle to it and really and truly looks like copper. So perfect for projects like this. It does really give the look of real copper. If there's a bit of black that still pokes through, I'm not going to worry about it. There's still layers going on. It'll all get covered. Everything's going to work together, and this is actually going to look fabulous. I can promise you that. Also, be sure to pop down in the description box for a list of paints used. Now that that paint layer's cured completely, I am going to use turquoise, some green, some black, maybe a little yellow and white, the copper again, and possibly some red. And I am going to recreate the natural patina that appears on copper when it's exposed to the elements over time. It's a beautiful finish, a beautiful look, and one of my favorite patinas to recreate. My favorite faux finish of all time is rust, and I'll actually link that video above so you can watch that easy process of creating gorgeous and incredibly realistic rust finish. I love a good faux finish, so be sure to check that one out. For this one, I'm going to use some different detail brushes, and through some stippling, some blending, and some layering, I'm going to recreate the patina the way that I see it. There is no right or wrong way to do this. When layering paint for a specific look such as this, always remember less is more. You can always add more to it, but it's a little bit harder to take it away. Step back and look at the piece. Let those layers dry in between, or you're just going to pull the paint right off, which is absolutely maddening. Said that once, I'll say it a million times. And if you're impatient, you can speed up the drying process with a hair dryer. But just get going on your piece, adding where you think it might be. If you need to look at images, Google has amazing images for you to look at. And always remember, there is no right or wrong. There's never too much, it's never too little. It's all a personal preference. The final result is all about what you want it to be. So have fun with this. Don't be afraid. Dive right in and give something a gorgeous faux finish that looks like aged copper. I'm always looking for a really good stylish vase or a container to put my detail brushes or hold something in. And I was actually looking online for copper vases, and I was stunned when I found them. The prices are absolutely ridiculous. This one's in the thousands. Yeah, no, that's totally not going to happen. Not in this house, anyways. If you can, good for you, but I totally can't. But what I can do is make my own, and I think that's even more satisfying than buying one because I can really make exactly what I want. The sky is the limit, and I love doing projects like this. I'm also notorious for giving away clippings of one of my plants constantly, and I was looking for new ways to do it without breaking the bank. And this way certainly does not break the bank. You don't even have to add the embellishments using the resin. Just the paint technique itself, just that faux finish itself is also absolutely gorgeous. When I gave them as gifts to my friends, even with the plants, I don't know what they were more happy to receive, the plant or the vase, because both were beautiful and thoughtful and easy and very budget friendly and a great way to give something back while saving it from the landfill, giving it a new life, customizing it the way that you want. I love this. This idea came from that need of needing those vessels, but also from doing that trash to treasure lantern makeover that I did. I'll link that video above as well. That was so much fun to do. I gave this same patinaed copper treatment to the top of that lantern, and it came out absolutely spectacular. It is in my living room to this day, and I still get compliments on it. So I figure if I can do it there, I can do it on anything. And you really can. You can make any type of a container you want. Potted plant, no problem. Make a custom vessel to put it in. Need a little vase to put something in? Not a problem whatsoever. Here you go. Pickle jar, turn it into something useful. Olive jar, it can totally hold those pencils. What is in your fridge that could use a transformation and be saved from the landfill? That's what you need to be asking yourself right now. Once I had the finish exactly the way I want it, it's time to seal it. So using my poly spray, I'm just going to give it a few light coats. I'm not going to worry about sanding it in between. I don't care if it has a little roughness, that'll just add to the texture, if you will. And if you need to finish off any edges or sections, such as the top rims or the bottoms, you can do this after the seal dries. Now, you can do this using metal, you can use jute, you can use lace, you can use pearls, you can use beads, you can use anything that you have on hand. Finish these off, really make them personal. The entire concept and the final result is entirely up to you and what you want them to look like. I'm thinking I want to use this unused crystal candlestick. I want to give it the same finish and I want to add it to the base of this vase, elevating it even more. I think that's going to look gorgeous, and why not? It's not being used. They could be fancy, they could be country, they could vibe out French provincial, or they could vibe out farmhouse chic. They can be anything and everything you want them to be. You're the designer here. I'm going to add on the layers of paint like I did on the olive jars to this base so that I can make it match. I want it to look like it was one piece always and that these two pieces have always belonged together. So I'm just going to go through the layering process again until I'm happy with the final outcome. And then we're done. Like, done, done, done. No more. All over. Done. Now, before I share the reveal, let's remember what I started with. These olive jars have a fabulous tapered shape, and I knew I wanted to give them a purpose beyond the olives, so that's exactly what I did. Cleaned them up really good, and then I gave them a faux finish. And I love creating faux finishes that mimic the real thing. And creating this faux weathered copper finish was super easy. And I have to say, the finishing touches are the details, which were delivered and achieved using resin molds and bits and baubles from the Dollar Tree, such as lace, the tin trim, the wired jute. Dollar Tree is a fabulous source of arts and craft supplies, I have to say. And I truly really love how I finally found a use and purpose for that crystal candlestick I've had hanging around forever. These are absolutely stunning, and their high-end look makes it mind-blowing that these were actually olive jars. They make fabulous gifts, and they're super budget-friendly. This is a true trash to treasure DIY that can be done on literally anything, big or small, with the proper supplies. Especially when it turns out this fabulous, this amazing, this believable. If I didn't make it with my own two hands and watch the transformation with my own two eyes, I would never believe that these were olive jars. Not in a million years would I believe that. Well, I'm dying to know, so you definitely have to tell me, what do you guys think of this upcycling project and the final result? Is it as mind-blowing to you as it is to me, or what? So cute, right? Why keep your brushes in a pickle jar when you can keep them in an olive jar? How amazing did this come out? I love it. Well, what do you guys think? I think these are absolutely gorgeous, and I love using them in my home, in my studio, giving them as gifts. I love repurposing these old jars from the refrigerator into something incredibly fabulous like we just did today. I love that they give you that high-end vibe totally without a high-end price tag. It's incredibly hard to believe that these were empty olive jars. Talk about a real trash to treasure, huh? I hope this inspired you, and more than that, I hope you try this faux finish on something for yourself. I hope you're already scoping things out around the house to reuse. As always, thanks for spending your time with me, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, be sure to do so before you leave. I love sharing things like this with you, and I'd hate for you to miss something. So hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, turn on your notifications, and I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye, friends.